Hey, thanks for stopping by. This is Will Poole at the Maison D. McCarty Guest House in New Orleans, Louisiana. We're going to be making some beautiful pecan pralines this morning. Let's get started with this. We're going to put our sugar, brown sugar, our white sugar, our salt and cream of tartar, heavy cream, and water into a bowl. Not into the saucepan, but into the bowl first. I want to show you guys a little trick of the trade. Most of the times in sugar cookery, what happens is you'll get some sugar crystals on the side of the boiling pan, and the sugars kind of react with each other, and you get this really granulated, nasty product. What we're going to do is take a whisk, and we're going to semi-dissolve your sugars together with your heavy cream and water, make a slurry, and then we're going to pour this into the pan to burn it off so that you don't run a risk, or you have less of a risk of having any problems when you start to heat your sugars up. Just make sure that there's no lumps. You can kind of check this a couple times, get in there, and you can kind of see how everything's just starting to incorporate together. It's homogeneous. It looks really, really nice. All right. Let's just get this out of the way. We'll take our handy spatula. This can go straight into the pan at this point. Just pull that right in. Just aim for the center. Let this stuff do the work for you. Medium-high heat on that. And as you can see, there's no sugar crystals on the side of there. Generally, I would strongly recommend getting in with a wet pastry brush and just wiping anything down during the process. We're going to alleviate that completely by putting a lid right on top. Let's take a look inside and see what's going on. Oh, this is beautiful. Take a look at this. We have a lot of melting of the sugar going on. The heat is just high enough to where it's starting to boil. We're not going to put the candy thermometer in yet. We're going to wait until we have all of this boiling somewhat rapidly before we check that temperature. So we'll hold on for just a bit. All right, checking this again. This is at a full boil. At this point, we're going to want to clip on our candy thermometer and just put this aside. The thing to remember about this is you do not want the bottom of that ball touching the bottom where the heat source is. You just want to make sure that it's within the liquid. We're going to take this to 236 degrees, which is soft ball. We're at 236 degrees. We're going to take this off the heat. Do not remove this because you're going to want to have this cool off to 220 degrees before we put the rest of our product in. So we can just let this sit here, think about what it's done for a couple minutes. We'll come right back to it. This is down to 220 degrees, so thermometer comes out. The butter and the vanilla are going to need to go in first because the butter is going to need to melt. Vanilla is going to help that along just a little bit. That heats up really quick. Stir this. And again, I don't want to agitate the sugar crystals too much. You can actually force granulation or crystallization back into your pralines if you're not gentle with it, but just hit it enough to make sure the butter melts and is fully incorporated into the molten sugar. And again, this is very, very hot. Watch your hands on this. So once everything is melted, you're going to want to hit it with the pecans. And we have some lovely Louisiana pecans. These have the best flavor. If you can find them wherever you shop, get them. Hold on to them dearly. Use them thoughtfully. All right, this is all melted on. This is going to cool down your pralines a little bit more. And as soon as these guys go in, this is where the beating process comes in. And you're going to want to do this until it deglosses. I know this sounds a little bit strange, but if you're watching this on the tight shots, you can see that this beautiful gloss is starting to go away. It's becoming a little bit dull. And that's when we're going to want to start putting these onto our lined pan. And this doesn't have to be a metal pan. You could actually just put some wax paper or some parchment paper down on your work surface and do it that way if you would like to. All right, if this goes on and it's too hot, and I'll demonstrate, if it's just too hot, all this is going to do is spread out. It may be tasty, but that's not what we're looking for. So we're going to beat this just a little bit more. All right, I've chosen a really big spoon today because you want all of that caramely goodness with those pecans mixed in there. I like a lot of pecans. I know the recipe says X amount, but if you want to put a little bit more in, it's quite all right. So let's get that in there. And it's okay to be a little bit messy. They don't have to be absolutely perfect. You can be freeform with these. I'll actually do one more thing here. If you want to think about this, you could do some ice cream and just do a really nice long line of these. These are pretty soft, but that laid on top of a little bit of ice cream would just be stunning. And there's your pralines.